Welcome to my Season 7 preview of my Oklahoma Sooners Death Penalty Dynasty. In the last video, I went through all of last season's stats and awards, and then we took care of the entire offseason. Now, what I will be doing in this video is showing you guys the players that we have redshirted, what our depth chart will look like, and our schedule, also all of the preseason awards. We did not redshirt many players, we don't have that much depth on this team yet, but the first person I redshirted was running back John Jordan. He was the #1 running back in this last recruiting class, but we still have Chris McKinney, so right now he's going to sit and wait a year. And at wide receiver, I went ahead and redshirted the 2 freshmen we got here because right now we have a pretty stacked receiver room, but we're going to lose 3 of them after this season. And the next player I've redshirted is outside linebacker Nate Thompson, and then at cornerback I redshirted Elton Butler. And the final redshirt we have is strong safety Dante Mack. Kicking off in week 1, we will take on the Auburn Tigers in Norman. Then we have a bye week. At week 3, we will travel to Miami. Then we kick off Big 12 play. We will take on Kansas State, Iowa State, Texas, and then we will get a break from the Big 12 and we will travel to Notre Dame in a rematch of last year's national championship. After that, we have a bye week, and then we get back into Big 12 play where we will take on Houston, UCF, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, TCU, and then finally Baylor. And the preseason Heisman watch has Chris McKinney and Ty Downing as #1 and #2. And preseason All-Americans go to Ty Downing, Chris McKinney, Utlin, Washington, and let's scroll down and see if we get anyone else. Dwight Rollins is here on the first team, David Jordan, George Steele, Jason Tremblay is here, and Jeff Benson. What about the second team? We have Wayne Outlaw over here at wide receiver, and anyone else? Does not look like it. Now for preseason all-conference, we have Ty Downing, Chris McKinney, Utlin, Washington, Wayne Outlaw, and we'll scroll down and see if anyone else is here. Obviously, Dwight Rollins is here, David Jordan, Jake Wright, George Steele has made it, Brian Alexander has made it, and Jason Tremblay has made it, and then obviously the returner is Jeff Benson. What about second team? Don't see anyone off the top here. That's going to be Ashton Mills and Ryan Covington, 2 defensive starters. We'll get to that in a minute. Alex Red will make second team corner. And it looks like our kicker, Jermaine Allen, will make second team. And as you can see here, we start this season ranked number 20 in the country. I kind of don't agree with that. We return our quarterback, running back, all 3 receivers, and we just won a national championship. But here is your top 10. Notre Dame, Florida, Michigan, Stanford, Auburn, Florida State, USC, California, Georgia, and Ohio State. And if you notice there, no one in the Big 12 is ranked here. Let's see where the highest Big 12 team is. It is going to be Texas at 15. Obviously, in week 1, we will have a chance to change that as we take on the #5 Auburn Tigers. So I imagine if we can win this game, we will jump up pretty high. But for now, let's go take a look at the final depth chart for week 1. And not really a shock here, but Ty Downing will be our starting quarterback, backed up by Sean Griffin. I did have a small decision to make here at running back, not who's starting, that's definitely going to be Chris McKinney, but the backup running back between Lance Mullins and Kellen Simmons. He's a 75 overall and Kellen Simmons is a 78 overall. The deciding factor was the elusiveness. I cannot juke anybody with Kellen Simmons. Now over at wide receiver, there has been a little bit of movement. Utlin Washington was our slot receiver last year, which is why he put up the numbers he did, but he actually lost 2 overall points during the offseason. So he is actually going to play on the outside this year, and we're moving Wayne Outlaw back into the slot where he played the first 2 years. And we are not starting many true freshmen this year, but we will be starting tight end Thomas Patterson. He was the #2 tight end in the country coming out of Lawton, Oklahoma. He is a 79 overall, but he is 6'8", 260 pounds. And real quick, we will just run through the starting offensive line. Left tackle is a 79 overall, left guard's a 77, center is an 80 overall, right guard's a 75, and right tackle is a 74. There has also been some movement on the defensive line. Obviously at left end, we will keep Dwight Rollins here, but at right end, instead of Ashton Mills, we're going to start true freshman Hassan Nugent, who is a 75 overall. I think he can make a much bigger impact on this team. And then at defensive tackle, we have Ryan Covington and Scott Thomas. Now for the linebackers. At left outside linebacker will be 78 overall Justin Rogers, middle linebacker will be 78 overall David Jordan, and right outside linebacker will be 80 overall Jake Wright. And cornerback is another position I actually had to make some changes at. Alex Red will obviously be the #1 corner just like he was last season. Eugene Blake will move from the slot to the #2 corner spot, and true freshman Adam Jackson will actually be our slot corner. George Steele, even though he got 8 interceptions last year, did not improve that much in the offseason, and Adam Jackson comes in with a lot more speed and pretty solid man coverage ratings as well. And then starting at free safety will be Brian Alexander, who was an 89 overall. And then over at strong safety, we will be starting Eric Kemp, who was a 76 overall. The same safety rating as Jason Tremblay, but I think Eric Kemp has a lot better ratings and can help this defense out a lot more. And not that these matter too much, but our kicker will be Jermaine Allen and our punter will be Jim Kelly. And because we are so loaded at wide receiver, Jeff Benson is actually going to be our kick and our punt returner. Last year he was just our kick returner. This year I'm also making him return punts. But I believe that is everything for the Season 7 preview. Obviously, the next video will be Week 1 against the Auburn Tigers. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I will talk to you guys next time.